My name is Hayden with When Forever Ends, and this is a track explanation video for our song Breach the Borders. Breach the Borders is the first song that we're releasing off of our album Return to Your Rest, and it is a song that deals with the subject of fear and the frustrations that you feel with yourself for validating that fear and giving it power in your life. One of the first things that I did with this song was something that was inspired by the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. And if you're unfamiliar with that book, it's really a sort of a guidebook for demons and how to deceive and control humans and how to keep them from God. And so in this song I wrote, make their fears into bolted bars, barricade the cave with anxiety, show them the dread of things unseen. And that's just to show that there are forces at work that are to deceive us and make things appear as they truly are not. And it's those things that don't exist, the dread of things unseen, that lead us further from God because we're being contained and held captive by fear. And then so for the rest of the song, I'm mostly looking at what is a life that is controlled by fear. I depicted that lyrically as a desert, as a dry wasteland that's barren and where there's nothing going on there. It's a desert. And so really seeing that when fear is in the driver's seat, that we're not enjoying the vibrant, lush life that we were created to have with God, because fear and God are not cohesive. They don't exist together. Later on in the song, I make reference to Numbers chapter 20, which is the account of when Moses breaks open the rock and water comes rushing out. So I'm saying, God, I see that, my heart, my life is dry and lifeless like a stone, but you can break me open and you can let your waters rush out to where there was nothing before. And one of the major themes of this song and kind of the resolution to it in Jesus Bring Freedom is something that's been a really strong theme in my theology lately, and just in the way that I view the world and view people, and really kind of controlling the way that I pray, is that Jesus is somebody who can do things that nobody else can do, that there's nothing impossible for him, and that where there once was death, life abundant can be found. Where things were dry, they can be alive. Just everything can change in an instant with Jesus. And just because if something is some way in one moment does not mean that it's beyond his reach. There's nothing that's beyond his reach to change and to restore and to be divine. And one of the things that has really shaped that for me and provided insight to me is a passage in Isaiah 32. And in that chapter, there is just this wasteland that is not really good for anything. It says, until the Lord pours out his Spirit. And then from that moment on, where there once was a wasteland, it then becomes a fertile field. That fertile field into a forest. And in that forest, there is his glory and peace and righteousness and quietness. And I just really loved that, how in an instant, when the Lord pours out his Spirit, everything changes. Where there once was desolation, there is vibrancy of life. And so that passage there inspired the lyric, Animate the Wasteland, because it is his Spirit that was breathed into us in creation, that animation of God. And he can do that once again, in every area of our life, in terms of a life that's dry and lifeless, driven by fear, not walking in what we were created to. In an instant, when the Lord pours out his Spirit, when he animates the wasteland, everything is changed, and we are restored, and we are with him. And so it's because of that we can sing and scream out, Jesus Bring Freedom, and know that that's not something that's empty or wishful thinking, but it's something that is truly powerful and something that does bring about change. Pleading, Jesus Bring Freedom, and surely He will come. Surely He is faithful, and He is good, and He will pour His Spirit out on us, and we will enjoy Him and delight in Him, and He in us.